This week's episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast is brought to you by 360 Booth, the world's most sold vehicle photo studio. For more information, go to 360booth.com. On this special edition of the Modern Dealer Podcast, David and I travel all the way to Las Vegas to attend the NADA Show 2020. We had the opportunity to sit down with Mason Miller of Gravitational Marketing to talk about landing pages, online video, analytics, and his favorite song from the 90s. Welcome in to another special episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast here from Las Vegas Convention Center, Las Vegas.
I call it lost wages.
Lost wages?
Because there's nothing but lost wages in Las Vegas. That's how the city's been built.
Yep.
So the house always wins, as we always discovered. But this house we're in is at Las Vegas Convention Center.
Yep.
We are in, once again, the photo booth 360. Compliments of Jay Smithwick and the 360 booth team. And we're here and we're interviewing just some of the industry leaders in so many different areas.
Yep, we've had just some great conversations so far of a lot of different people in and around different industries. We've talked to actually 3 attorneys so far, which is kind of cool.
Very legal this morning.
Yeah, a lot of compliance stuff, which some you don't really think about. And you're more in the marketing side of the business, so are we, and we're also from the dealer operations side. That's where our background is. So anyways, Modern Dealer Podcast, we got a couple guests with us right now, and we're going to go into that. So what we like to do is we like to find out what your origin story is. So what I want you to think about is like when you got into the business and really what made you excited about the car business, if you're excited about the car business. Tell us about kind of how that led you up to where you are right now.
Yeah, sure. It's actually been a bit of a windy road. I actually went to school for video production, believe it or not.
So you understand the clap?
This is great. Yeah, I understand.
So this is actually pretty cool.
Do you like all the iPhone 11s?
Yeah. Well, I got out of video around the time that like smartphones started really taking off.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Everyone has a video camera right in their pocket these days. Now I was screwing around with like DSLRs and figuring all that crap out.
Anyways,
I was looking for video production jobs. I just moved back from Florida. I was in Los Angeles for a bit, and a company hired me, Gravitational Marketing, to do their video work. And eventually I just was. They specialize in automotive advertising, and at a certain point I realized I was a lot more. And this was years and years ago. And I realized at a certain point I was much more interested in the digital marketing end of things. And I started transitioning more into that, more into the technical side of things in terms of websites, landing pages, and that sort of thing. And since then I've just been really. Marketing has really turned into a passion of mine, and especially that intersection of marketing and also the technical side of it, and what you can do with new innovations, new technologies, and constantly changing.
Yes.
Google and Facebook are constantly changing the game, especially for automotive, and that constant evolution of this corner of the industry is really what excites me the most about it. I don't think since I've started working in digital marketing, I don't think the rules have stayed the same once from like month to month. It's always changing.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people really don't understand is how, the evolution, how quickly things change. I mean, especially when you start talking about Google Analytics, Facebook, anything in the digital marketing standpoint. Google My Business is very, very hot right now. They've made a lot of innovations over the last 12 to 18 months. But really, that's one of the things we talked earlier today is, Google Analytics, for example, it changes so fast that you really can't be an expert in Google Analytics. You have to kind of pick and choose what areas makes the most sense to connect with a dealership in this case, and make sure that you're paying attention to those areas right there. So you grew up in Orlando, is that right? And then to Los Angeles, and then now back?
I actually grew up in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Then Orlando, then Los Angeles, and then I came back.
Okay.
More into the horse and buggy business and the
horse and buggy,
versus car business in the beginning.
The trade-ins are not. It's not a good offer for them. It's tough. It's tough to get them on Facebook. They don't use phones.
So funny. Speaking of that, we just the last podcast episode we did, episode 33, we did a brief history of NADA, so National Automobile Dealers Association, and they started actually in legislation back in 1917. That's why they created this, and now it's become this huge, gigantic thing with the NADA show. So that's pretty cool. So from a digital marketing standpoint, you've had the opportunity to work through video creation. So did you actually create car spots? Is that what you did at first for Gravitational Marketing?
It was a mix. It was a mix of commercial spots, internal videos.
Okay.
I mean, I had my hands in so many different things, which was exciting because I've always kind of, part of what also makes, me motivated as a person is kind of the diversification of it all and just understanding how bits and pieces of every business kind of work together. And I think actually working in video gave me an element of that, because one day I'd be working with the creative team and creating maybe a commercial spot, and the next day I might be working with more of our operations sides and putting together meet the team videos and that sort of thing. And so when I first started, I think that was really beneficial for me because I understood how that all kind of clicked together, and also kind of gave me a leg up on understanding video metrics when I made that transition to digital.
Yeah,
because everything's changed since then.
Well, yeah, absolutely, right? So digital marketing, video marketing, I mean, it's definitely something that has connected in a very big way over the last 4 or 5 years. And I think we were speaking with Phil Sura earlier today, who's been in automotive and video marketing for 15 years. What he said, he was talking to Julio from Google, and everybody really believes that we're really only now stepping into the strength and the power of video marketing from a digital marketing standpoint. So from that aspect, since you kind of have your background in video and digital marketing, what are some of your thoughts on utilizing video in digital marketing from a content perspective? That's one of the things that we like to think about a lot and talk about is the idea of utilizing more of an organic content for more marketing and commercial standpoint. Are you doing some of that right now? Brand building, personal brand building within the automotive space, and what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely help all of our clients. One of our biggest, one of the cornerstones of our entire belief system is that one thing that your competition can't copy is who you are and your personality. They can offer the same cars maybe, they can maybe even offer better prices, but they can't offer you and your personality and what your dealership can offer in that regard. And obviously video has a huge role to play in that, and organic video on Facebook and YouTube, and I think it just lends itself really well to creating that believability aspect of it. Because when someone's first introduced to you, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to look at your Facebook page, they're going to maybe find your YouTube page, and I think that video content and those platforms go a really long way in building trust with potential customers.
And that's really changed a lot with the way customers are researching dealerships and making that decision of who I want to do business with. I mean, it's very easy to do business with anybody now, especially with a lot of the online shopping companies that are out there right now. So you can really find any type of vehicle that you want online, and you can even schedule to have that delivered to you. So being able to create some differentiation, utilizing social media and building that brand, I think there's a huge opportunity for dealers and marketers to be able to provide services to dealers to allow them to tell their story. Right? And you look at Generation Z, you look at the millennial generation, which I would have to imagine you're a millennial. That's how you're shopping right now, right? You say, maybe I want to do business with them, but before I make a decision, I'm going to do, where's their YouTube channel look like? What does their Instagram look like?
The shadow marketing of, these different platforms to basically kind of verify your social proof would be, looking at the videos that the dealers put out there. Would you find it more a bigger challenge to get dealers to do more organic, or they still want to just use these platforms for advertisement? Because what I see is them just looking at it as pure advertisement form versus them as an engagement, conversational format?
I mean, I think it's tough. It's tough sometimes because I think the industry in itself, and especially the marketing side of it, is so results driven sometimes. And I think sometimes it's hard for, it actually goes back to a conversation I have constantly about, they want to, generally you want to tie every sold back to a specific source. But the reality of it, of course attribution, but the reality of it is, as time and time has progressed, what's shown us is that, there is no singular point.
No,
of
there's not.
attribution
I mean, it's about how each element contributes to
Absolutely.
the marketing stack that allows you to be a successful dealership, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think sometimes it's hard to, it's almost like a challenge for us to create better reporting, but it's sometimes a challenge to really prove that those more organic, Facebook videos, YouTube videos have a role in those conversions through paid Google, paid Facebook, and even like in-stream YouTube ads.
So let's kind of jump away from that, and I want to ask you and see if you guys, as an advertising agency or marketing company, are doing things with. So you are doing stuff in Facebook, right?
Oh yeah,
Facebook.
absolutely.
I figure. I just wanted to get some clarification. So one of the things that I see Facebook doing that's really cool and kind of cutting edge is their offline attribution technology from a reporting standpoint, where you're actually able to go into your DMS, pull out your sold data, upload that into Facebook, and then within Facebook, they're going to match that to the online personas or online accounts of those existing people. And the match rates that we're seeing is 90+%, 95, 98% sometimes we're able to match those sales. And then you're able to look at, well, what happened up to that? So they're very exciting things right now.
Absolutely.
And I think that's going to be the game changer, even though we're talking about how everything contributes to the entire marketing stack. But if you have the ability to start to tie those things into digital impressions and then ultimately to the sale, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I think offline conversions, not just in Facebook, but I know Google has flirted with years the store.
Google Marketing Platform, they're supposed to be coming out with that very, very soon. It's like next month. But
I remember that carrot out there.
I remember 2 years ago, maybe even more, we were talking about the same thing with Google. I mean, I think it's not a matter of if, I think it's when kind of thing with them, and the same thing with Facebook offline. Like, I absolutely agree with you. I think that's definitely where we're headed, and that's going to be more. I mean, I think the challenge that Facebook and Google are going to run into is the trust.
Yes,
I think, and I don't think it'll ever be. It's never going to be like the only like. I don't think you're ever going to be able to tell someone, Google or Facebook says 45 or however many cars matched off of this $2,000 Facebook campaign. I'm not going to believe that at face value. I think it's an important number,
right?
And it's an important number to get, and it's an important number to understand how integrated those Facebook campaigns are in customer journeys these days.
And really, if you start to think about it, we've talked about it quite a bit of times on the Modern Dealer podcast, is key performance indicators, right?
Yeah.
So you look at any type of key performance indicators, whether it's Google Analytics, whether it's Google AdWords or Google Ads, Facebook. It's just an indicator. It's a performance indicator. Does it mean it's good? Does it mean it's bad? It's just something that helps you shape your decisioning of what you want to do.
I mean, my perspective on it personally is the offline data is great.
Yep.
I would never want to be in a place where that's the only data I have.
Right.
But it's another number, and as long as you understand where those numbers are coming from and you understand what those numbers represent, you can make smart marketing decisions from them. I think sometimes marketers and sometimes even the industry in general gets sometimes hung up on single metrics without bringing in the entire
everything else that goes along with it. Yeah.
It's an omni-channel, obviously, input from different sources of how the customer's journey was to purchase that vehicle. But like you said, dealers are more in a hurry. They want to see that 90-day, show me in 90 days what my results are from XYZ platform. Which is always the thing. I tell dealers it's not a sprint. This is going to be a marathon.
Absolutely.
Basically laying out content to get it out there to get people to constantly engage with, as you mentioned earlier, Adam, the personality of your dealership. I mean, you sell the same product, you sell the same cars, you have the same within the same
Yeah.
25-mile radius of the market. But what makes that dealership different from the next Nissan dealership or anything like that? It's like, well, obviously they may have Adam or they may have Katrina there or something like that. So it's the connection with the people seems to be the important, and that's just difficult for a dealer to try to relay that.
Yeah, it's important, and I think in a lot of cases it's a huge paradigm shift for them from what they grew up thinking and what they're sometimes taught by manufacturers and what they hear in 20 groups and that sort of thing. But it's powerful.
And as what we first started talking about, it changes every single day. I mean, year to year, different metrics, different platforms, different capabilities, how customers are engaging. When we were selling cars in the mid to late 90s,
we're revealing our age, David.
there barely was an internet.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So now we look at now. Okay, so now we're 16, 17 minutes in, and what I'd like to do is find out a little bit about what you're talking about today. Is it today that you're speaking, or is it
today and tomorrow morning?
Today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about why you're here and what your topic is here at NADA.
I mean, the reason why I'm here is really simple. It's just, I'm passionate about talking about digital strategies. This is my first NADA.
Very cool.
First time speaking.
David's as well?
Hey, me too.
Nice.
We're NADA virgins.
My first one was in 2000. So
That's double zeros. We're at 2020, and he was just triple zeros.
But yeah, I was just really curious. I saw the call for workshops. My boss actually spoke here a couple years ago. He recommended it. I'm very passionate about talking about digital marketing. It's not a job for me.
Yeah.
I just
It's your
enjoy.
calling,
I just enjoy going off about it
Yeah.
and kind of pontificating about it for hours.
yeah.
And so it just sounded fun. I was curious to check it out, and I'm passionate about talking to dealers, talking to guys like you about it, and it just seemed like an obvious decision.
Very cool. So
7 landing pages guaranteed to increase
Yes,
conversion.
that's
That
is-
is plug. Get the plug. Get the
that
plug.
is- that is the-
N234,
Yeah.
1030.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think so.
it's hard to keep up.
Yeah,
I know it
it's
is,
tough. And they have me
especially
in 2 different rooms.
Yeah.
and- yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, it's like you put it in your calendar, but you put it in Eastern time. You get it
And
over
then you
here.
get there and
did
you're
it
like,
get transferred over? I don't know where I'm at. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So, our last episode before last, 32, we actually covered ClickFunnels, which is a very similar product, a solution for marketers to use to create very effective landing pages. So, tell us a little bit about the about your workshop.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing that I kind of came up with is so often you see like really simple. You see like the great. Everyone's website these days is pretty good. Like there's the day of like the really bad website is over.
There's a lot of shitty ones out there, though.
There's still a lot of shitty ones, but like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, like it was the norm, not the exception.
Yeah.
And so like most websites are good. You have these really big, huge website provider names that work with manufacturers. But so often I, onboarding a client or just talking to a client where we don't make their website, there's this really simple, easy to fix mistakes that you see constantly that you just want to just do
like
this.
the About Us page or the
yeah, exactly. Or like the example I always bring up is like using a credit app as a landing page for a credit ad. Like, come on, guys, you can do better than that. And that sort of thing, and just discussing, like what are, because people don't, I think people, this is a little bit philosophical, but I don't think people really question like what are landing pages.
Right.
Like what, like is every page a landing page? And the answer is definitely no. Like you have pages on your website that serve purposes.
Right.
One of those purposes might be a landing page, but not every page can be a landing page. And it's kind of talking about that, really like that relationship between the customer and how they view your website.
Yep, absolutely. One of the interesting things in the recap of your workshop is the whole idea of lead conversion. So the average dealership website, I think you quoted 5% or under, or quoted, but it was in there. When the reality is probably the national average is somewhere less than 2%.
Yeah, that's right.
From a visitor to conversion standpoint. That's an area that me and my company, we've been focusing on helping dealers convert more leads from the dealership website for the last 9 years. And what's interesting is that really has not changed all that much.
Yeah, not really.
The national average still is about 2%, and I don't know if it's going to get higher or lower, especially when you start to take in consideration all the legislation with CCPA and TCPA. I mean, those are some serious concerns for dealers from a marketing standpoint. I mean, we were talking to was it
Randy?
No, not Randy. Adam. And you know, the whole goal, if somebody reaches out to you and you decide to contact them a week later because you got their contact information, that's actually not allowed in many circumstances. So the balancing between marketing and legislation, I mean, that's what's, you know, really on the shoulders of a dealer to be able to you know, make those wise decisions. And we as marketers that are assisting dealers, we need to make sure that we're there to provide really good guidance.
Absolutely.
But really, at the end of the day, it's about helping them get more leads, get more engagements, get more face-to-face opportunities, so they can sell more cars.
Yeah, and getting people in the dealership, like you said. Yeah, that's the end goal.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So a lot of excitement. I know David is already trying to pick out his lightning round
I
questions.
see him back there.
Right.
He's been waiting to do this.
Yeah, hey man, that's my little fun cricket portion of the podcast.
Let's roll into it.
What do you got for me?
60 seconds. We'll put 60 seconds on the clock.
Cool.
Go right ahead. Now, so what was your first car? What was your first car?
A Dodge Neon.
What is? Hold on a second, I lost it. Oh, your favorite '90s song?
Oh. I don't. Californication. Right
Californication. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
You like them? Chipotle or Taco Bell?
Chipotle.
Hey, some people like a drive-through,
Yeah,
right?
that's fine.
There's no.
I'm
The
not
Chipotle
judging
had a
anyone.
drive-through. How much more could they possibly sell?
Taco Bell Cantina now.
You see. Good
How
stuff.
much more bacteria could they spread?
What was your first job?
My first job was working at Blockbuster.
Nice.
I still have my Blockbuster card.
Are you sure you're a millennial?
But it was
Was it the last
Blockbuster's-
Blockbuster?
It was very close, and it was their ill-fated online Netflix ripoff. It did not last.
Yeah.
That was my first job.
And can you still renew your Blockbuster card?
No, I don't even have.
I still
Yes, you
have.
can. In Alaska, in Fairbanks,
No.
Alaska. There's that
I
one.
think it shut down like last month.
No.
Yep.
No,
Finally
man.
shut down last month. So that's our
Good
quick
stuff,
round.
man. Yeah, that was our
Okay.
60-second quick little. Those are the interview questions they didn't ask you when you got hired. That's
No,
what.
they
That's what I
didn't.
like to
No,
call my lightning round. So.
That's awesome.
All right, well, this was a lot of fun. You know, this
Yeah.
gives us an opportunity to connect with people. We'd love to have you come down to the Modern Dealer Podcast Studio. We're in Wesley Chapel on
sure.
this 75 and 54, so not too far from the Orlando. If you, maybe we can connect offline and see if that's something you want
Yeah,
to
that
do.
sounds
That'd be great. Get in a little bit more information about digital marketing, your passions, and some different things. So it was great. We really appreciate you carving out some
This is
time
awesome.
of your podcast.
We got Katrina.
It
We
was-
got
I'm
Adam.
barely working.
Yeah.
And for David, that's
That's
a wrap.
a wrap.